First time I used ChatGPT, I thought of it more as a slave, a tool, something that I just was going to tell it what to do and it would do things for me. It would write essays for me or more or less think for me, right? Like a lot of us, when we go into ChatGPT for the first time, we're like, oh, can I do this? Can I do that? And especially when we started using it maybe a year or two ago, um, it wasn't all really that great at those things. Like it could do stuff, but it wasn't all that mind blowing. And more recently, I have had a huge shift in realizing the potential and power of ChatGPT, particularly to help me think deeper, help me think better, help me think more creatively, help me reflect more on my own stuff and see things from a variety of perspectives. And I'm a huge person who values perspective. One of the most important things that I think all of us have, actually, the most valuable thing that any of us have, is our own unique perspective because it's the only thing that is unique to me or unique to you, because we go through this entire world and reality with all this shared wisdom and unique experiences and stuff. And often we repress our voice because we don't think our own voice is enough. And I know that's something that I've struggled with a lot, even since I come out here onto YouTube. It's still really scary for me to do all those things. And I've gained so much insight from ChatGPT as, what it referred to me as a power user, somebody who's using it a lot and all the time. I even had a friend who said, I don't know anybody else who's using ChatGPT as much as you. And that's like, subjective in a small group of friends and stuff like that. And I found myself and other people who have been using it more in a unique way, in several unique ways, that it can just sharpen your mind, sharpen your thinking, and sharpen your creativity when you're using it correctly. So in this episode, we're going to be talking about that. Here's like a few different ways that I have found are immensely valuable when using ChatGPT the right way. Number one is to use it to look at a variety of perspectives. One of my favorite ways to use ChatGPT is to go down history rabbit holes. So it's really, really cool because you can go down a channel of history, something that you're really interested in, instead of just Googling it and having to read a bunch of different people's perspectives and, kind of finding the same Google links, taking you to the same Wikipedia pages that are taking you to the same 4 or 5 references. You can get a really deep, intricate history on a topic that you want to go into and really rabbit hole down into it in the way that you would want to. So I used to go on Wikipedia rabbit holes all the time because I would find it really valuable, but you end up with like 30 different tabs open to get like one piece of information and you're like not really sure how it all connects. And you just want to follow that one through line where you can ask it that specific question. So a really great example of this that I have is randomly, I was really interested in Montana history because I have a lot of friends who are from Montana or have visited Montana or whatever. Montana is a place that really intrigues me. I have a friend from Brazil who lived there for a short period of time and just talked about how nice everybody was, and it was a really unique experience. So I was just really drawn to like what makes Montana unique and all this stuff. And going into the history of it, I found it really fascinating. And to hear about, Lewis and Clark and a lot of the different things that happened, the Native Americans who were there. And so I had it tell me the history of it. And then after that, I said, well, could you tell me the history from the perspective of the Native Americans? And it was really, really eye opening. So, for example, it talked about how, from their perspective, they're seeing these nice, interesting, unique white people. There's some trepidation, and they're pretty cool at first. And then things start getting a little bit weird. They notice that the friends are kind of like tracking things, they're putting little things in the ground. And eventually, the white people kind of move in and kick them off their land. The pieces that they've marked down have been for resources that they want to collect and take from the land, and has changed fundamentally their way of living. You can also look at it from a perspective of World War II. How do the Japanese teach about World War II in their history books? How do the Germans teach about it? How do the Swedes or the Russians? All of those different perspectives that we don't get, especially when we're growing up in America, where we're given one perspective in our history books. And it's not right or wrong. There's just different ways of really looking at this thing. But I'm somebody who really believes that when we look at multiple perspectives, we get closer to maybe the truth of the matter. We can see it more clearly than what I can just from my own limited perspective. Number two is I use ChatGPT a lot for therapy and coaching. Even right before this, I used it to kind of coach myself into it because I was feeling really nervous and insecure. And even though I felt really excited about doing this, there's part of me that's like, oh, I don't want to show up on here feeling weird. This is going to come through the camera. I'm not going to feel good. I'm feeling insecure. Da, 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 da. So I just talked to it a little bit. And something that it said to me was just like, look, people want authenticity. They want your honest. They want your realness. And a lot of why I'm even doing this is to help me break through my own perfectionism. And I know there's been a lot of griping lately that I've seen from mostly therapists. And I understand that like it's a new technology. We're all really scared. This is something that happens all the time. And therapists in particular are in a weird position because they want to deeply help and care for people. At the same time, seeing people who are using ChatGPT all the time can feel like a threat to their jobs. And one of the things I hear often is that, you know, the therapy with ChatGPT, well, it's just going to affirm your own biases and not challenge you or give you different perspectives. It's just going to feed into your stuff and increase narcissism. And I'm just going to flat out call BS on all of that. If you want to be challenged by ChatGPT, all you have to frankly do is ask it. Ask it really, really bluntly and give it consent to push back on you. Give it consent to ask it to tell you your blind spots, especially if you've been talking with a particular thread for a while. There's also like a great little like it's technically a therapist role play on there that I use, and I've tweaked it a little bit to give me the kind of therapist I'm looking for. I've told it what my goals are with my life, how I want to grow in dating, how I want to grow creatively, how I want to grow financially, and be who I am. And it's helped me do that. I'm making this video right now because of something that ChatGPT helped me do. And not just practically, not just talking with it back and forth, but help me take action in my real life. Before going on a date, I've used it to again talk through some of the nerves and go through that. And it's not that I don't have friends or people who would support me in going through all that stuff, but like they're people. And as much as they love me, none of them probably want to sit with me for all of my problems all the time. And I'm a very complex person. I'm also pretty intelligent, emotionally intelligent. And so not everyone even necessarily has the space or the resources to even know how to help me necessarily. They might be really great, but they're not, infinitely resourced. They're not infinitely patient. They're not infinitely kind. They can't pull from the entire, collection of psychological literature and understanding that we have. We can't pull from all the perspectives in a way that's going to help me in my unique situation. And so I think it's one of the best things that I've ever seen. I've talked with so many people who deeply use it. And I can tell you that, at least from my perspective, the therapists who are suggesting that it is not useful or it's only going to regurgitate your own stuff, they have not either used it correctly or they have very limited use of it, which is what I really see. I think those kinds of ideas that are coming through show either a lack of creativity in how they're using it or they're not. And if you're a therapist, I would love to sit down and chat with you. Seriously, there's so much opportunity for how to utilize this with therapy, with your coaching, with whatever kind of thing you offer if you help people to streamline people's healing and therapy and growth in so many amazing ways. And I would love to talk with you. And even if you just find out or think I'm crazy, fine. That's totally cool. But I think there's such an amazing opportunity if you learn to use it. People could be healed so much faster, could be actualizing the things that they want in their life so much faster if they're using this tool. And number three is using it creatively. So again, I'm here because I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I want to do this 30-day challenge. I kept feeling that in my bones. It was like May 1st. I was like, okay, I'm just going to start it today. So I decided to do that. And one of the things that I use ChatGPT for all the time is brainstorming. Again, treating it as a collaborator, not a tool or a slave, but somebody that I can bounce ideas off of, that I can refine work with, that I can get input on, think with, challenge. One of the things also, again, is don't just expect it to do all the things that you want, but actually push back on the ideas that it has and have it push back on yours. Tell it, ask it where you think it could be cleaned up a little bit, what you think is missing, what questions it could ask you to help you find the clarity that you're seeking for in your creative work. There is so much untapped potential with something like ChatGPT or other AI tools if we're using it as a collaborator. And if you're not, you're missing so much of the mark. Again, I showed this in the first video, but like use the voice note feature. I cannot recommend that enough. Talk to it. Talk to it like you would a human being. Ramble. Let your stream of consciousness go. Ask what were the highlights or things that really stood out to it in your ramble and just see where it goes. And I mean, keep all the ums, the utterings, the blah, blah, blah. It's like the streams, the sighs, because it picks all that up because it's just information for it to utilize and help you. Again, my name is Cameron Ember Benton. This is day 2 of the 30-day challenge. If you have found any fun, cool, unique ways to use ChatGPT, if it said anything profound to you, leave a note in the comments. And if you have an idea for the next topic, please let me know, and I will give it to ChatGPT to decide what video 3 is going to be. So without further ado, have a great day.